it's when, you know, when the war started, and when Hitler, you know, marched into Poland, it was, I believe it was in 39. But anyway, my wife and I and some friends were watching the parade in Gainesville, Georgia. The Gordon Academy up there, that parade one Sunday afternoon, and that's when we found out about Pearl Harbor. While we were sitting there watching this parade, you know, everybody said, well, where in the world is Pearl Harbor? But a lot of us knew where it was. But anyway, it came up and the draft came up. And friends, we were all 20, 21. And I was recently married, and some of our friends were. And everybody thought about it and said, hey, what are we going to do? We know we're going to be drafted, so we just will volunteer for the service that we want. And some of them volunteered for the infantry, some of them volunteered for the Marines, some Navy, but I wanted to fly, so I volunteered for the Air Corps. And but when I did volunteer for the Air Corps, I had to wait for a class of cadets to open up, and it took 6 months after I volunteered before that a class of cadets came available. So they sent me to Nashville, Tennessee, and then they said, okay, we're going to send you by train to California. And so that's exactly what we did. What they did in California was Santa Ana's, where they sent us. And they classified us, they put us in a room, and they classified your coordination, your sight, and all this sort of business. And I went through the process, and he said, the instructor said, what do you want to do? And I said, well, tell me about being a pilot, or tell me about being a bombardier or navigator on a B-17 Flying Fortress. And I said, well, how long will it take me to be a pilot? And he said, 9 months. And I said, well, what about a bombardier? He said, 5 months. I said, what about a navigator? 5 months. And I had been recently married, and that $21 a month didn't go very far. So I wanted to be an officer. And so I said, well, I want to be a bombardier. Take me 5 months to get my commission. And he said, you sure you don't want to be a pilot? I said, your coordination is just great. And I said, no, I want to be a bombardier. And so they sent me to Victorville, California, which is below Los Angeles. And so I graduated as a bombardier on Christmas Day, 4318. And so as soon as we graduated, this said, you going to navigation school. So they sent me to Salt Lake City, Utah, to take navigation. So I became a bombardier. And they said, well, if you go off in B-17 and the navigator is shot, it can't function, you can bring the plane home. And so I was a bombardier.
Double trained.
Yeah, double trained. So what they did then, after we graduated from Salt Lake City, they sent us to Lincoln, Nebraska. And that's when they assigned us. Some of them were assigned to a plane who would fly over to England or to Italy, or the other group was a replacement group. And you had to go by boat, and it took us 21 days to go by boat. We would And so it's going to, and so we were 21 days on the ocean, Atlantic Ocean. And we were in a convoy, and that's when Germans were sinking, submarines were sinking, all sorts of ships all over the place. And we had one instance where we had to drop bombs, depth charges. And, but anyway, we wound up in Oran, North Africa. And we stayed there a couple of days, and then said, we got on a boat to go to Italy, to Naples, Italy. And so we were in the middle of the Mediterranean Ocean when D-Day came along. We heard about D-Day while we were in the Mediterranean Ocean. And then we landed in Naples, and we got off of the boat. And it's a funny thing, when the soldiers got off the boat, they said, "You guys are lucky." Said the Italians told us we were lucky. He said the Germans come over and drop bombs to harass the population. You know, they don't drop them on the ground, so to speak. They just scare you to death by busting in the air. So we got off the boat. I mean, got off we got off the boat, and they were going to put us. We were marching down to 40 and 8. You know, 40 men and 8 horses. These box cars. They put us in there. But when you go along the streets in Naples, there's one thing they learned quickly. And that was to chocolate. The kids was all along the way saying, chocolate, chocolate. And we had it, we gave it to them, you know. But we got on those box cars, 40 and 8, and went across to Foggia, 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 Italy, across the Goup. And between Foggia and Lucera, which was Italian cities, we formed they put up tents in an olive orchard, and that's where we stayed, in the tents, you know, on the ground, in the olive orchard. And the pilots came in, we were laughing with them, and we were assigned to a crew. But when you got to combat, they split your crew up. The ones you've been training with, they split it up. Half of the crew was seasoned or had flown combat missions, and the other one had not flown. So they put us all on the same plane. And we fly around Foggia and get the experience, so to speak, from the combat fellows and all that sort of business. And it was real interesting. And we became acquainted with these guys. And the pilot said, "Where's the runway?" And he said, "That's it." He pointed out that, you know, these steel things that they lay down for the pilots to land on. And they said, "You mean we going to have to land on that?" I said, "Yes, sir. If you land it, you're going to land on those things like that." But and one thing about it, I had a brother-in-law that was in Italy, same place. And Bill said, "Let's meet down at the officers club and, you know, and visit." He was in another area. And so I did. You know, you check out. And so I went down to the officers club, and his name, Bill Runyon, was signed in. Bill had to leave before I got there. You know, transportation, you wasn't right on the dot, but I signed right under Bill's name. And Bill, on his first mission, was shot down and killed.
Is that right?
I never did see him anymore. And but he was he flew into northern Italy. He was in B-17s, and but he was shot down and killed. And I know my sister, Elizabeth, you may have met Elizabeth.
Yes, I know you.
Yeah, and she went over there to find out where he's buried. These people, these Italians, buried him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she wanted to go see
Mm-hmm.
that they had buried him.
Right.
And she did. She went over there. And but anyway, I never did get to see him anymore. And they lined us up on the first mission. And you go into a room where they tell you where you're going. There's a map on the wall, and they put where you are, and then they draw a line, a piece of cord, you know, where you're going.
Right.
And so our first mission was Northern Italy, just like Bill had gone on. And so we went to Northern Italy. You go to a briefing and load the bombs, and it's a lot of, you know, we joking with each other like we talking now.
Right.
But we loaded the bombs, and one thing about a bombardier, he's a gunnery officer.
Mm-hmm.
And but we loaded the bombs and headed toward Northern Italy, and where we were going to drop them. And when you get close to the target, you turn on an IP, initial point, heading right to the target. And so that's what we did. We got up there and turned on the IP and everything. They told us to start with, said there's not much flak up in that area. That's when the black smoke, you know, you see that. And they said it's not much. That's why we're going on the first mission to Northern Italy. So we headed down the IP and in our squadron, and the target was just as plain as targets in here, you know, just you could see them. When we start down the IP and they turned the plane over, he said, okay, the bombardier, to the bombardier, we were using the northern bomb sight. He says, okay, you got it. And so what we do is fly it with a knob, and we're actually flying the plane, you know, down the target situation. So we were hitting the marshalling yards up there, and so we dropped our bombs, opened the bombay doors, dropped our bombs, and prettiest fire you've ever seen, prettiest explosion, and we were laughing about it on the plane. Said, man, that was really some fire. And I looked out to my right, and there was a B-17 over there, and there was a piece of flag above it, and a piece of flag below it. And they taught us in school, said you could bet your boots that the next one was going to be right on that plane. And sure enough, it hit the next, one above, one below, and one hit that plane, and it just gone. And we were laughing about it over the intercom. I said, man, we better straighten up and fly right. This is a war. This is no picnic, you know. But anyway, we did a good job up there. Then the next morning, they always call us, said, somebody comes through the tents and says, okay, 15 minutes to a chow. All those men on the battle order, 15 minutes to a chow. And so you get up, dress, and go eat breakfast. And then you go to another briefing. So we went into this briefing, and they still had where you are, where you're going. And so it was just amazing. They showed us a picture, a moving picture. The guys from North Africa in heavy bombardment in 24s, and which is 4-engine heavy bombardment. And they left North Africa and was going to Ploesti, which was Hitler's one of his main sources of petroleum. And they had 179 planes that day. They went in at 300 feet, which is very strange for heavy bombardment.
Mm-hmm.
But they went in and they got kind of mixed up, but they shot out 59 of them that day, on the 170.
Wow.
And they said, the guy got up there then briefing us. He said, well, fellas, I hate to tell you, that's where y'all going today,
Right there.
to POW.
Mm-hmm.
And so, well, we got out, loaded our bombs, and there's always cussing
Mm-hmm.
to carry it on. But we loaded our bombs and headed toward POW. And we got just in, pretty close. And the guys came in on the radio and said, fellas, you in love. Said, it's weathered in POW. So you turn around and hit your secondary target, which was in Yugoslavia.
Uh-huh.
And we got back to the place. And then the next time, we went to the briefing. Place here, where you going is Vienna.